Welcome back into the Sports Source. If people knew what we were talking about. Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. When it comes to protecting your home from pests and your family from the diseases carried by pests, call the folks I use, Southeast Termite and Pest Control. Since 1971, the Haynes family has been taking care of their neighbors here in East Tennessee. Let them protect your home too. SoutheastTermite.com is how you get in touch with them, how you learn more about them. Great people, great company. Support a local company, Southeast Termite and Pest Control. All right, guys, Tennessee is 5-5. They will be heavy favorites against South Alabama and Vanderbilt. Doesn't mean they're in the bag. They got to focus one game at a time, but we're doing a talk show. We don't have to focus one game at a time. Let's say they get through those two. Then you're going to get a mid-level bowl game. Could be anywhere from Jacksonville to Nashville, maybe Tampa. Then you're going to play probably a mid-level ACC or Big Ten team. All right, you could win 8 games. You could be 8-5. And let me show you, if they do it, let's put this up. It would be only the 5th time in the last 15 years that you won 8 games. 5 times in the last 15 years. Although you're on a streak here, it'd be 4 times in the last 7 years. So, but does it matter? In this day and age, where people with heightened expectations, anything less than a championship is suck. Are people going to care that you go 8-5 this year? Tell me why it matters.
Absolutely, it cares because you play the game to win. Period. But
game within the game.
Hey, I can say that, but this time I'm gonna say this: why not win them if you're playing them? I mean, think about it. If you win the bowl game, how much momentum goes into the season for next year?
Oh, Jimmy hates that argument. I don't know if Jimmy's still in here.
I'm glad he's not on the panel.
But all right, does it carry any weight?
Yes.
Does it excite this fan base?
Yes.
You might sell some tickets.
Yes.
Recruiting?
Yeah, I think it does. It helps in recruiting. It also, especially your first year, you're coming off 3 and whatever, and you said it and you turned it around to this year. And we've always talked about, like, you've lost how many starters and you were able to do it. So especially this year, it means something. Now, if you've been here 4 or 5 years, people would be yawning a little bit, right? They'd be like, nah, that's not that big a deal. But, I mean, you're looking at it from where you've been and said, okay, I've got some excitement about this. If you can do this with this level of talent and with these guys, then what can you do with other guys? So it's a hopeful future, I think, out there. So that's what it means. Does it mean a lot in the other schemes of things of, whatever it might be of how you're going to do next year and all those kinds of things? No, not really. It's just a reward. It's not going to be any huge stepping stone, but it is the momentum and the hope of the future that this says what you've done with so little.
And what I'd add to that is the most important part is that you're overachieving and that the recruits that you're wanting to bring in can actually see you overachieving. They can see Hooker getting better every single week. They can see your offensive line playing good even with injuries and things like that. See you competing with the #1 team in the country. And so it all depends. If this was a 7-5 team that underachieved, that's going to hurt you more in recruiting than what this team's doing this year.
I say yes, it helps because as you go into the offseason, first of all, we overachieved, like you just said, given this roster, first-year head coach. Now as a team, now you go into the offseason, your approach is a little bit different. I mean, we went 8-5 last year. We played some of the top teams in the country and played them tight, all right? And we got the record to back that up. So now you're thinking going into this offseason, hey, man, now we can compete with Georgia. We know we can compete with Alabama. Now how do we sustain it for 4 quarters? So I say yes, it helps for sure.
I think one way that helps is just the overall outside view of your program. And that talks about recruiting, that talks about excitement overall. But if you have already Rick Neuheisel was in town. Was it the quarterback club this week, Jimmy? All right, Jimmy's sitting over there. We're doing a lot of that today. I need extra cameras. But Rick Neuheisel was in town this week, and he said that Josh Heupel should be SEC Coach of the Year. Now, he was at the Knoxville Quarterback Club. He may say something different next week when he's in Tuscaloosa. But if you have people saying that now, you could have a whole off season of people bragging on Josh Heupel to where you're not having to do the recruiting. These national guys are doing the recruiting for you. Hey, look at the job Josh Heupel did in year 1. What can he do in year 2? So I think that can have a really nice impact on where you're going as a program. Just a little extra added fuel on the get it back machine.
And to add to that, how incredible was it to have Tim Tebow saying that if you're an offensive recruit, saying you really need to look at Heupel's offense.
And you get more of that
Yeah.
if you can wind up with 8 wins.
And that was a Florida guy saying that about Tennessee, which is huge. So if you're a recruit, they're me away from being good.
And think about just us on the panel here, John P. We're excited about saying, look, we can win these games. There's a different attitude here.
Well,
I'm just
there's
saying.
a different attitude for a
For
couple
us
of the
three.
guys. Yeah. There's nothing different for you.
Hey, man, I'm a Tennessee guy. Go Vols!
When we come back, let's take a look at how Tennessee's foes did yesterday. But also, we're going to get you up to speed with South Alabama. And do they have a rabbit's foot that works against Tennessee? We'll discuss that next. Coming back on the Sports Source.